40-point downtick is what the GIFT Nifty is indicating. The uncertainty over Iran and Israel continue, but a lot of individual stocks, all of them on our radar this morning. Let's get to CNBC-TV18's list of top stocks for the day. Our entire research team is up for you on the screen. Let's start with Nigel. Nigel, Vedanta and Hindustan Zinc.
You know, Mangalam, over the last 1 week or so, I've been making this point at 500 rupees plus, both on and off air, that someone will be tempted to come and sell Hindustan Zinc.
Yep.
And, you know, the writing's on the wall normally because I've seen this in the past as well. And that's precisely what's happened. Now, Vedanta is looking to sell a small portion in Hindustan Zinc. As of the last recorded number, that's the last reported number in March, they held close to around 63.4% stake. Now, the block has been launched, and in fact, the base price is at a discount of close to around 7% in comparison to yesterday's close. If we're looking at a quantum, close to around 3,000 crores at the base price. So they'll get a little bit higher than that in all probability. The total quantum they're looking to sell right now is around 1.6%. Remember, in August last year as well, Vedanta had sold close to around 1.5%. The government of India in November, they went ahead and they sold 1.6%. And both those two times, the price range was between 485 to around 505 or thereabouts. It's good for Vedanta. Why? Because they're going to be considering paying out a dividend today. So the pass-through from the dividend that they got from Hindustan Zinc would amount to close to around 6.85 rupees. However, with this additional money, you could expect a bigger dividend that will pay out because, you know, they'll be getting money via the block. The other factors that are working for Vedanta, they have a value unlocking exercise, which is the demerger. We should hear about that. I think the next hearing is in early July. So that's one. The second factor is valuations attractive at 5 times EV upon EBITDA. And the third factor is, since Vedanta, the listed entity, will get dividend and then they'll will get money from the block and then they'll pay out dividend, the promoter entity will be in far better shape. Just 1 point on Hindustan Zinc. The price is at a big discount to yesterday's close. However, there's a big open interest built up out there, a lot of shorts in the system. If in case this block takes place in the pre-open window, then in fact some of the shorts will have to run for cover. So that's the joke on the back with regard to Hindustan Zinc. Big open interest built up in the last few days. In fact, we'll be joined by the management of Hindustan Zinc. They'll be joining in shortly, but they'll be detailing their capex plans that they announced on the stock exchanges late last afternoon.
All right, Nigel. So that's about Hindustan Zinc and Vedanta. Vedanta positive. Hindustan Zinc, the only joker in the pack. If it happens in the block window, then there are a lot of shots in the system. Management joins us too. But let's get across to Ria, who joins in with what's taking place for Bharat Forge and Polycab. Ria.
Morning, Mangalam. Let's take a look at Bharat Forge. First, they've signed an MOU with France's Sturgis Gaillard to offer AROC UAVs to the Indian Defence Forces. And as a part of this MOU, Bharat Forge is going to establish an AROC production line on site. Moving on to Polycab, they've signed an agreement to execute the middle mile network of BharatNet in Karnataka, Goa and Pondicherry. This is for a total contract value of rupees 6,448 crores for a period of 3 years. And they've also got a maintenance contract which will continue for the next 10 years. So positive news flow for both of these counters, expected to open in the green today.
Okay, all right, Ria, thank you very much for that. GMR Airports, RailTel in focus. Vinny's got details. Vinny, morning.
Hi, good morning. So GMR Airport, they've come out with their May data that's come in terms of what has handled the traffic data for GMR Airports. So they've handled more than 10 million passengers in the month of May. That's an uptick of around 0.8% on a year-on-year basis. Domestic traffic mildly up by 0.1%, while international traffic is up by 2.9%. All this we're comparing versus last year, May 2024. Now, obviously, do not forget that in the month of May, there were a lot of security issues and measures that were taken at the Delhi airport. There were setbacks coming in terms of restricted flights that were seen from Delhi airport as well. That was from May 6th to May 20th. And obviously, due to that, we had seen some bit of a subduedness. But despite that, overall, we're seeing a growth of 0.8%. So we're expecting some bit of green coming in on the screen here. RailTel Corp, they have received a letter of intent, and this is coming in from Zoram Electronics Development Corporation. 44 crores is the order size. It's expected to be executed by 5th of September 2026. And this is for implementation of mesofiber grid networks. The project mainly will be focusing on this. So keep an eye out on RailTel, and order win again. So we're expecting a positive move here.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Vinny. Well, let's hop across to Vamakshi. She's tracking Ukrocap. Vamakshi, take it away.
Well, Nigel, the stock will be in focus today on the back of an acquisition. They've gone ahead and decided to acquire 100% stake in Profectus Capital Private Limited for 1,400 crores. The acquisition will be funded from proceeds of preferential issue of compulsory convertible debentures, that is CCDs. And to just decide on the same, a board meeting is scheduled on June 20th. So we'll be watching out for that. Now, just to give our viewers some context, Profectus had an asset size of almost 3,600 crores in FY25. They also managed to report a turnover of 420 crores. This acquisition is expected to be beneficial for Ugro, and that is because it will lead to an immediate 29% jump in the company's AUM. It will also add incremental profitability of around 150 crores and will be accretive in terms of ROA as well. It will boost ROA by 0.6 to 0.7%. So given that development, going with the green for Ugro Capital.
All right, a green for Ugro Capital, 1,400 crore acquisition is what they've made, but crude, that's on the boil. Almost $76, a little over $76 as we speak right now. The impact of that would obviously be felt on a lot of upstream and downstream companies and some of the users as well. Manisha joins in with all things crudes. Manisha.
Mangalam, thank you for that. Well, yes, we've seen 4.5% of gain come in for the crude oil prices. Interestingly, we haven't crossed above 80, something that the markets believe that if we continue this any longer and US gets involved into this directly, then we could be looking at higher crude oil prices. Well, clearly, there are a lot of ifs and buts when it comes to the crude prices. There also is, interestingly, an IEA report that suggests that the global oil demand will peak in 2029 and the Chinese oil consumption will peak ahead of that in 2027 itself. And then the markets are looking at much higher supplies in crude. So only Strait of Hormuz can be a turning point when it comes to the crude oil prices. Well, of course, with the kind of gains that we've seen in the overnight market, crude is now 10% up on the week and it's up 20% on month as well. As Israel-Iran conflict enters day 6, the markets are not shorting this one. There are still long calls continuing in case of crude prices.
All right, Manisha, thanks a lot for that. So those are a bunch of stocks, the entire list that we'll be watching out for today. In case you missed it, here's a quick recap. Stocks with positive news flow: Vedanta, Bharat, Polycab, GMR Airports. We have RailTel, Corp and Ugro Capital on the back of that acquisition, ONGC as well on the back of higher crude oil prices. Stocks with negative news flow: Hindustan Zinc, there is supply out there, oil marketing companies, even Asian Paints as it is a crude user. With that, we'll take a short break. On the other side, we have Galaxy Surfactants joining in to talk about the company's ambitious growth roadmap. We'll also connect with Devin Choksi of DR Choksi Finserv for some fundamental stock talk. Stay tuned.